under the rubble, the BBC calls it a military operation. While hospitals and refugee camps are bombed, they call it retaliation, self-defense. And when brave people rise up and call it what it is, genocide, the BBC calls them biased. We here know what it means to be misrepresented. We know what it means to be silenced, to be branded as a threat, to have your pain twisted, your resistance criminalized, your humanity erased by the headline. When the BBC refuses to name the crime, it becomes part of the crime. When it parrots the language of colonizers and occupiers, it becomes a mouthpiece of the powerful. That's not journalism, that's complicity.
Yes.
But we are watching, and we know, for example, that the BBC's own Royal Charter sets out its duty as a public service broadcaster funded by the people. It lists the corporation's duties and responsibilities in clearly numbered articles and a framework agreement that expands on the details, both of which are legally binding. Several of the obligations are being breached by its failure to properly cover and in some cases distort the reality of the destruction of Palestine. Royal Charter Article 6.1b states, the BBC must ensure that news and current affairs content is presented with due impartiality and accuracy. Royal Charter Article 6.1d states, the BBC must reflect, represent and serve the diverse communities of all the United Kingdom's nations and regions. Royal Charter Article 6.1a states in the Charter reference public purposes that the BBC is there to provide impartial news and information to help people understand and engage with the world around them. The BBC should enable individuals to participate in society in an informed way, and it must do all it can to ensure that controversial subjects are treated with due impartiality and that a range of views is presented and given appropriate weight. In short, the BBC's coverage of Gaza, in its omissions, distortions and language, is in direct violation of its own charter.
Yes.
How many more children had to die before the BBC called it genocide? How many hospitals have to be destroyed? How many journalists murdered before their own colleagues speak up? And to those working inside this building, the editors, the presenters, the producers, you have a choice. Your job is not just to read scripts. Your job is to tell the truth.
Yes.
So far, BBC NI has failed to exercise impartiality in its coverage of Israel's war on Palestine, or as they term it, the Israel-Gaza war. In particular, BBC NI has failed to provide continuous coverage of the regular protest marches with significant attendance occurring here, and has failed to provide a platform to Palestinian people resident here impacted by the conflict. Why are the voices of the people who are being bombed, starved and displaced never heard on your airwaves?
Yes.
Why is the biggest show in the country not covering this? Why has NOLA not interviewed Palestinians living here whose families are being displaced, bombed and murdered? Do you not care, Stephen? What about Maria Corrigan's 40-day fast?
Yes.
Not a word on BBC NI. marches across this country ignored by your cameras. Tens of thousands marching in peace for justice and not a word, not a frame. Who is putting pressure on the BBC? Whose interests are you protecting? Whose narratives are you promoting? Because it's not ours, it's not the Palestinians, and it's not the truth.
That's well said.
The people here stand with Gaza. We do not accept genocide in our name. And we do not accept silence, not from our government and not from the BBC. So today we call on the BBC to ensure fair and balanced reporting in line with journalistic ethics. Specifically, we ask that you, 1, use neutral, accurate, internationally recognised terminology. Avoid language that criminalises the Palestinian nation. Stop using euphemisms when describing disproportionate and state-led violence. Name occupation, apartheid, ethnic cleansing, and genocide when those terms are supported by international legal experts and human rights organisations. I mean, let's remind you, for example, the Palestinians are not prisoners, they're hostages.
Yes.
Number 2, include Palestinian voices and testimony. Feature Palestinian journalists, survivors, medics, families. Prioritise first-hand accounts and local perspectives as you would do in any other humanitarian disaster. Stop sanitising suffering. Reflect the human cost, the bodies of children executed, the destruction of hospitals, the starvation of a people. Number 3, cover protests and solidarity movements. Recognise that these movements reflect a major public outcry, not fringe opinion. Number 4, investigate and disclose government and lobbying pressure. Be transparent about any external influence. The public has the right to know if foreign or state pressure is silencing journalistic integrity. And number 5, uphold the BBC's own legal duties. The people will remember where you stood. History will remember who spoke, who stayed silent, and who made excuses. And we will keep shouting, keep marching, keep exposing the lies until the truth cannot be buried and Palestine is free. Free Palestine.
Thank you very much, Aina, for